It's all kicking off this morning, guys. Demand is outstripping supply right across Fife. House transactions are down. The number of properties getting sold are astronomical comparison. And it's a crazy time. Are we in for another boom? Who knows? Roll VT. Good morning, guys, to the Fife Property Show. This is live coming to you. You've got your time and opportunity to ask questions and answers here. There's an 11% drop in the last 3 months in the number of house transactions coming onto the Fife property market overall. We're going to discuss individual micro areas like the East Neuk, St Andrews, Cooper, Leavenmouth, Kirkcaldy, Glenrothes, Dunfermline. We're going to discuss all these individual regions in the show and what the statistics are for them. Really what it means is the demand is now outstripping the supply. Is this going to continue? Who knows? On today's show, we've got Richard Cook. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Morning, Jim. I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic times. I tell you what, I think I could be I could be bursting my bubble here and say there's a boom on the way, possibly. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
We've got Jimmy Mullen. Jimmy, how are you this morning?
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks. Lovely day outside.
It's hey, liquid sunshine.
Yeah, it's been.
That's effectively it. Okay, so we've got an 11% drop in Fife Homes for Sale in the last 3 months. I mean, with most Fife families homeschooling their children in lockdown and the forthcoming land and buildings tax holiday deadline on the 31st of March coming to an end, less Fife properties have been coming onto the Fife property market since the new year itself. I mean, we'll look at these numbers in a minute for January. This has prompted an 11% drop in the supply of Fife homes for sale compared to November 2020. I mean, guys, have you actually seen this across the board?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a continual increase in demand for the tail end of last year. And like you say, like you said in the intro there, it's far outstripping the supply of property right across the sales market, the rentals market. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely evident, and we're continually reaching out to people, obviously, who have property that are thinking about putting it on the market or maybe sitting on the fence, because now is the time.
It's even the rentals market as well.
Oh yeah.
Typically, what happens in a rentals market, the rentals market usually goes down as the sales market goes up because more people move out of rented accommodation and they go for sales. But now we're actually seeing possibly a boom in two areas at the same time.
Yeah, definitely, and there's big differences in typical trends in the property market, and I mean, the market just now is crazy.
Jimmy, what have you noticed?
I would agree. I'm surprised about what you say about the number of transactions from November to now. You only have to look at what we've done this week to suggest completely opposite to that. What I would say is maybe there might be a slightly less amount of inquiries coming in, but I would say that's just because people with these new lockdown rules, they don't want to take the risk or on the fence and not really inquiring or wanting to leave their home. But ultimately, all those people that missed out in November, not all of them could have bought a property back then. So they're still looking now.
They're all looking now, effectively. You know, that's really it. All the people that have missed out in November are actually still looking. I had someone almost plead us, and actually on a pre-launch, when they followed our Facebook pages, because that's where our pre-launches happen, you see it there first. They followed our Facebook page, they saw the pre-launch, and they almost pleaded with us to get the house before it actually got to market.
Yeah, we had one like that this week in Cooper as well. I think she missed out on a similar property, wanted in there first. Luckily, we was able to accommodate her and get her in.
Yeah, let's look at the numbers for January. So this is the numbers of properties in the area. So this in January, this is right across Fife, every single estate agent. This is what they sold or instructed in each area. So you can see there in Cooper, there was 34 properties instructed. There was 37 actually sold. So there's 108% demand there. You know, East Neuk, there was 9 properties came onto the market. There was 13 sold. I mean, that's 144%. At what point are we going to run out with properties to actually sell in East Neuk? It's like, it's all the time. It's like, you can't,
that way right now.
In the property zone, how can you sell them? That's impossible. So somebody's actually manufactured these properties, sneaking them onto the market without anybody knowing. So St Andrews, 18 come to the market, 16 sold, Levenmouth 33, 51 sold in January. Dunfermline 118, 125 sold. Glenrothes 43 came to the market, 56 sold in Glenrothes in January. Kirkcaldy 101 came to the market, 130 sold in January. I know one agent that did 27 properties in January out of that figure. That's unbelievable. Out of that figure in Kirkcaldy, that was remarkable. So overall in that region, you've got 356 properties actually came to market in January. So 428 actually sold. So that means stock from previous months is actually sold now in the January month, but it's still outstripping supply by overall 120%.
Yeah. Those numbers do not surprise me one bit when I know what it was like from just before Christmas trying to run through now. And also you have your other end of the market of people that we accepted offers this week, and it was conditional upon it needs to be through before the 31st of March. So people are still trying to beat the stamp duty holiday and get through ASAP.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Actually, that's further on. So just now, Richard, is this surprising you?
No, it doesn't. I mean, those figures aren't surprising, and like what we're saying, you're talking about old stock and properties which I'm experiencing, properties that maybe sat very well on the market are now obviously getting the attention of obviously buyers because, like you say, there's a limited supply of property, and these are obviously then being able to push forward. So older stock's getting sold off. Whereas it's
there's older stock getting sold off. And a lot of people actually assume it's going to be lesser price, but actually we're getting the right prices for them.
Yeah. Ones that have struggled in the past now are coming forward. So
I had people coming up and saying, I just want to make an offer. And I said, you viewed it? No, I'm just want to make an offer and buy it. I went, you want?
We're getting that a lot.
No needing to view it. I'll just buy it. Just send me the home report. What? This is unprecedented times. Let me show you the activity on the websites. Okay, so there's the activity on the websites. So this is for January, the activity. Now, this is our website compared to last year's activity. So when you look at last year's, at the same period last year, the 1st of January 2020 versus the 30th of January 2020 to now in January, you can see the dotted line below was last year's activity. Look at the top line, the thick blue line above. That is this year's activity in January. It is astronomical. It's almost, you can see that it's going up 96% in terms of activity.
Yeah.
Now, Richard, what's your thoughts on that?
I was just going to say, I mean, that's an astounding difference in the space of a year. You could see on the chart, obviously, there's the same kind of trend in terms of how it moves along, but obviously the difference in the amount is, like you say, astronomical.
When you think about the logic of this, right, this is purely for properties in Fife because it's our website, Fife Properties. So there's over 1,000 people a day now at one point in time. And there, you could see that in that wee trend there. There's over the 1,000. Well, there's the 1,000 mark there.
Yeah.
You know, basically, right now, from the middle of January onwards, it's been almost over 1,000 people a day are just coming on to look for properties in Fife.
Yeah. I would say, Jim, now we're out of the Christmas period. These people have managed to do that, and they've actually making a decision now. I'm moving or I'm not. And what I would say is, obviously there is a shortage of properties on the market now. So I would say the website visitors are going to be up. But in terms of ourselves, not everybody is going to be getting these numbers. It's key that you have the correct marketing in place to get people to come to your website and know how to get it seen.
Hit the nail on the head, Jimmy. I mean, that's a lot to do with the way we're doing things and the way the way our engine works. It's quite a unique engine in the background, and that tends to be what's generating all these figures now because people tend to come to let's be honest. If you're faced with the opportunity of Rightmove, Prime Location, Zoopla, S1 Homes, and any other person's website, and you just see the website, it says Fife Properties, and you're looking for properties in Fife, what's the chances are you'd probably just go for the Fife? Because there's an assumption there straight away. We've got all the properties in Fife, from anybody that's not in the know.
Correct.
Yeah, we've seen that over the years. I mean, keeping track, obviously, click-throughs and traction on the website, and we've seen it greatly increased over the last few years, especially obviously in the last year, as you've just shown. So
Yeah, absolutely. So over the past couple of decades, like clockwork, Fife Estate, the busiest times for putting property onto the market is the New Year to Easter rush, with a smaller flurry of new properties coming onto the market in the mid-late summer. Yet since the ending of lockdown 1 in the spring of 2000 and late spring of 2020, nothing has been normal about the Fife property market. It hasn't really, has it?
No.
No, not at all.
So throughout the summer, the number of properties coming onto the market in Fife steadily rose to its peak in November, and the number of properties then becoming sold, subject to the anecdotal evidence or contract, rose even higher. And while statistics don't exist for the properties sold, subject to concluded missives, because we don't actually see that, anecdotal evidence suggests that there were just under 50% more properties sold, subject to concluded contract, in the last 6 months of 2020 compared to the same 6 months in 2019. I mean, that's astronomical. Now, for anybody that doesn't understand what that means, sold subject to concluded missives means basically that the offer's been made, and while, you know, things like the entry date is agreed, the amount paid is agreed. The main heads of terms are actually agreed, but the finer details, like, is that what you're buying? Is, you know, are you buying the land? Are you buying the title? Do you know you're doing these certain repairs on the property? Are you responsible for the wall and the boundary? That's subject to concluded missives, because that's all the finer detail that goes later on with the solicitor. So just so everybody understands that. So compared to 2019, 2020 at the same time, there's 50% more Fife properties sold in the last 6 months since then. You know, that's a remarkable number.
Yeah, I think the last 12 months, as I mean, the amount of transactions and things, and from what everybody's expectation was for the last year, has just been the complete polar opposite. And we've spoken in previous shows about, obviously, how people speculated about the impact of things like lockdown and coronavirus, but it's really just went the complete opposite direction, and the amount of transactions is really amazing.
Do you think it's just everybody else has got nothing else to do?
I think obviously people's circumstances and their personal position has changed, and I think whether that be like, obviously it's time to move, time to obviously maybe upsize, extra rooms, or like they've got more time on their hands to actually sit and think, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to have a wee look on the market, see what there is, I think it's time to move. I mean, there's a combination of things, I think.
I think with the pandemic, people are now reflecting on their life and just thinking, why am I waiting, or why am I not doing this, or why I want to do that, and they're just going for it, just jumping in 2 feet and just cracking on and pushing forward and doing what they want to do with their lives.
Yeah, what would your suggestion be in advice then? Would you tell people to take stock and to slow down and to, you know, just think about their situation first? I mean, as a parent, I would think like that. That's how I think.
I think if I was out and I was meeting the client, I would ask them to tell me what their circumstances is and what they want to achieve and do for the future. If I didn't think it was right for them to move, I would say, you're crazy, don't do it. But if I didn't feel like it was time, and I'm getting the vibe that this is what they want to do, and also it's a matter of time, the market's so predictable right now. It's like, if you're going to do it, let's do it now. I mean, people will be thinking that when we're asking for, saying, look, we need more property to sell, oh, you're just saying that, but you've just seen the numbers 10 minutes ago. What Jim was just showing, the facts are there. It's not like a load of waffle. It's
It's a typical estate agent's trick, isn't it? It's like, oh, we need more properties to sell. It's like, we've got loads of people waiting for properties. But the reality is, actually, we're showing the evidence loud and clear. We're actually putting, this is what's sold so far. I mean, so let's talk about what happened in the last week. I mean, let's look at some of the properties sold. You know, there, Kinchaldy House is away.
Yeah.
And Tentsmuir Forest. I mean, that got a fantastic price, didn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, good price. Great location. It just needed someone to see the vision for it, really, because that's that could be something special. I mean, you just have to look at the building, you know.
Yeah. And then we've got, where's this one? Laurel Bray in Springfield. Great offer on that one. Recently did a price review. Got more people through the door, and a vendors accept an offer that
that they couldn't refuse, so it gets them to move on to the next
comes
place.
back to my saying about, you know, it's amazing how many vendors are reluctant to actually reduce the price, the initial price point. We call it a price review because the reality is reducing the initial price point actually potentially brings more people in to push the price back up.
Yeah.
I can't obviously. It's not as you see. It's subject to concluding missives. I can't say what I got, but I will say I got a great price. The clients are more than happy, and yes, then they want to move into Cooper, so that's allowing them to do that.
Yeah, and New York Street in St. Monans is away.
Yeah,
I tell you that was great value for money.
Yeah, it was a big house, and a chance to put your own stamp on that as well.
George Terrace sold from social media for a record price.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I tell you, I you know, umpteen times I send text to the surveyor, and the surveyor sends my text back and says, "You've set a new price point for there for that type of property." You can't believe it. And I tell you what, I'll do a vlog later on with what next door got and what we got, and the two the same houses. So not all estate agents are equal here.
That was a good one.
This will show our stark reality and how that is, but we'll have to do that later. So Burnside again, Jimmy.
That was social media, yeah.
Yeah, social media. That's the one I was talking about earlier in the show. So, a lady missed out on a similar property in the area there. So, messaged us through Facebook saying that, please, can I be the first one through the door? Managed to accommodate that. She was in there, offering, credit to our solicitor, offering at 6 o'clock last night. I didn't think solicitors work past 5 o'clock, but
I think they're having it now.
They got it in, and no need to go on the market. Don't even need to go on the market, that one.
I tell you, and when we talk about this, for people watching, this is the key here. What was the difference here? It was sold from social media. In other words, it never went on Rightmove, it never went on Zoopla, never went on Prime Location, never went on any of the major websites or portals at all until it was sold. You know, the reality was somebody was following our Facebook pages. They were savvy enough to learn and listen and learn the lesson that we told people before. Watch our Facebook pages. We launched these properties on Facebook 5 days before they're actually completed and ready to go to market. So you have a prime opportunity to get there in before anybody else. This woman actually messaged you direct, Jimmy, and the deal was done. You know, to stop it going to market, this is the price I want to pay. And the deal was done, and the seller was delighted to take it.
They're both delighted because she wants to be in Cooper, central location, walk to everything. It's a great property, actually. Lovely little courtyard, back garden, stunning finish. And it's both really happy.
I think it's a fantastic property. Okay, so this one as well, Main Street in Colton, Balgony.
Yeah, I think we had 6 viewers through the door on this one, or 6 or 5 viewers. My client was looking to get this one gone straight away, so he was delighted. Good offer. Lovely.
So 5 days.
5 days, 5 days.
Perfect. Okay, great stuff. Mora Street in Methil.
Yeah, first time buyer.
5 days.
Yeah.
There's a pattern version here.
1 viewer, 1 offer. So it can be that simple sometimes.
It was a cracking property. I tell you what, as an investor and a buy-to-let landlord, I know it's first time buyers moving in it, but as an investor and buy-to-let landlord, I was looking at it and thinking to myself, that is a fantastic investment return. And I was about to buy, and then you said it's sold, and I went, damn.
I tell you what, the garden is so big with that one, you could build another house on it.
It's fantastic, eh? And then Collinston. So Collinston Avenue, Glenrothes.
Yeah, 5 days that one.
Here sold in 5 days, sold in 24 hours, sold before it gets to the portals.
Yeah. So this one, we actually received multiple offers on this one. Finally got one that my client was happy with a bit of negotiating, but brilliant. They're up in Aberdeen, so
but the key here for everybody else is we've got multiple offers on it, so there's only one person that can buy it. But the reality is there's other people still waiting for these types of properties. What type of property was this, Jimmy?
2-bedroom terrace house. 2 bedrooms up the stairs, bathroom, and open plan sort of lounge, diner, and kitchen down the stairs. The people that actually missed out on this were landlords that offered. 2 people that offered were looking for investment properties, and it was actually a first-time buyer. They got this, but I would say Richard will know more than me. But Glenrothes right now, I would say everything that we're listing right now, we're getting landlords, investors through the door looking to pick up stuff in Glenrothes.
It's key as well. It's not just about we're getting them to buy them. It's what we're getting at the end is more important. It's what the money in your pocket is more important as a seller. That's the point here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's some people, they feel when they get an offer that they might have to accept it simply. If you're not happy with a price, you just say no, and we just crack on and get more people through the door. It's simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so it's all going really well just now. The market is booming, and everything is going strong. So we've discussed that. Okay, so throughout the summer, the number of properties coming to the market, as I'd said, was quite astronomical. I mean, when you think about it, right, if you go back to the autumn, available on the market, there was 908 properties right across Fife. Now, when I did this report, it was 805 properties across Fife available. Okay, so that doesn't take into account what's sold. So all these properties are sitting sold, but it's what's actually available. It's the most important one. That's now down to the 700s as we talk. Now, it's the last time I checked, it was a couple of days ago, and it was sitting at 775. It's like right across Fife, every single estate agent is running out of stock to sell. Therefore, the prices will just, guess what? Up, 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 up. And is there any stopping them?
What I would say as well, that number must have got less as well. Just have to look at our numbers. There's not much come on in the last couple of days, but I would say about 6 of those sales of ours happened yesterday. So it's definitely going to be a less number than that now as well.
Yeah, you definitely see if there's not a balance with the amount of stock coming on and the amount of buyers that are buying. If that kind of outsinks, then obviously, and the demand's higher, then ultimately prices are going to push up. So
yeah, there we go. I mean, a quick look just now, and I'll show you right now. I'll just see if I can quickly share my screen, because and I'll show you straight away what's on the market just now, as live as we speak. Let's quickly look at the Rightmove window. There you go. There you go. That's a telltale sign straight away. 723 properties on the market right across Fife. So it's gone down significantly since then. So more stock is needed, obviously, clearly, in order to curb that demand, because the demand is clearly still there, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. I mean, you just have to see, we're getting offers on properties. People can't. There's not enough on the market right now. We're struggling to keep up with the people inquiries. Obviously, we're getting through them as quickly as we can, and making sure that we call every single person that comes and wants to speak to us or see our properties. But there is that many buyers out in the market right now.
I looked at the number of properties when we were looking at the individuals. So 908 versus 805 in Fife, and it's now 700 odd. But if you actually look at the micro regions like East Neuk, you've only got 33 properties versus 24 now. So I think there's less properties on the market in East Neuk now. So there's only 24 properties to buy in East Neuk. There's loads of people chasing the East Neuk just now. 69 versus 57 for St Andrews area. I mean, 57 properties in St Andrews, that's it. You know, there's no much to choose from, and it'll probably be less now. 47 versus 31 in Cooper. Leadenmouth is 128 versus 98. I think that's going to be a lot less now. And Glenorchy is 64 versus 52. So that's across the board. I mean, that shows you by micro-region, or indicates by micro-region. There's no much in each area to buy, is there?
No, I mean, the East Neuk is frightening right now. Absolutely frightening. And I would say it's the same with Glenrothes, I'd say, and Cooper. I would say they're the 3 top areas that I'm seeing right now where stuff come on and you just need it. If you're not ready to go, then I'm sorry, there's no point of even inquiring.
Things are moving too fast.
You're too late. It's and I'm trying to explain that to people, and some people take offense to it, but I'm simply just like, look, if you've not got your mortgage, if you've not got it agreed in principle, or you've not got your property on the market and sold, then I'm sorry, I'm just trying to give you the best advice. I don't take this as an insult, but there is no point in you going through the door, because there's going to be someone else ready to go that has made the plunge and ready to make an offer.
This is quite an important point when you talk about that, and I'll laugh about this. And I told you the story the other day, and we'll have a, you know, I went into the house and they said to me, they asked me, well, what do you think the valuation of the property is? Right now, I had looked at all comparables. I'd done exactly what the surveyor does, because that's what we do. We look at what's been sold before. At the end of the day, if you've got a 4-bedroom house, it's exactly the same as your house that sold next door 3 months ago. That's the value of your house at this point in time. So I looked at all these comparables and I came up with an idea, and we've never actually run it by David before, the surveyor, and give him an idea. And we're thinking about, a certain figure. And I said to them, how much do you think it's worth then? Now, this is a discussion at the end of the day. We're here to help you. It's not a competition about who knows best here. We're here to help a seller make a decision on fact. And they went, well, I'm not really sure what it is. We don't have an idea. I said, surely you've got an idea. No, we've got an idea at all. And I said, well, I think it's about 250,000. And right back, and it came, it's 350,000. I'm like, oh,
I remember you speaking about this one.
You just told me you didn't know what you thought, or you didn't have an idea about what you were hoping for. It's like, and that brings me back. Please, please, please. We're out here to help you. We're not out here to compete. It's not a quiz show. We're not like, oh, what have you got? It's like, no, it's a discussion two-way to come to a formulated decision about whether you should sell your house now, whether you should sell your house later, or whether you should actually sell your house at all. The discussion that you said at the end, it's exactly what you said, Jimmy. If at the end of that discussion, by everything you're telling us and everything you're saying to us, we think that you shouldn't be selling your house just now, we will tell you. It's like, we're not there to sell your house. We're there to give you the right advice and help you move forward. If you decide to sell your house, and it's fantastic if you give us the opportunity to actually sell it, we'd be more than happy to do it. It's one of the most honourable things to do to help you sell your biggest tax-free asset. That's the reality. But we're here to help you. We're not here to hinder you or compete against you. That's my wee soapbox moment.
But no, I think that people 9 times out of 10 have an expectation of what their property is going to be worth, and more than likely their plans to move forward are probably based on that figure. So if they're not going to achieve that, or we think they can achieve that, then maybe it's not the right choice to put the property in the market or whatever. So that, like you say, that we're there to advise them that.
Yeah, I mean, the first lockdown caused many Fife homeowners to want to move with the need for extra space to work from home, and in some cases, larger gardens. This was further exacerbated by Fife home movers also trying to take advantage of the land and building transaction tax. That's a big, big word. Why didn't we just stick with stamp duty? Everybody knows that it's stamp duty. Why on earth would you change it? To save themselves money on this tax. This meant that more Fife properties came onto the market, well, more than the normal year, in the last 6 months in 2020. However, those Fife homeowners and movers motivated to move for extra space, save on money for the tax, did so in the summer and autumn, and have already placed their Fife home on the market, and are probably now sold, subject to concluded missives, rushing to get their house purchases through by the deadline for the tax saving. So what do you think is going to happen with the stamp duty exemption? Is it going to end on the 31st of March?
I doubt it. I think they'll extend.
There'll be a lot of people kicking off or upset if they miss it by a day.
Well, there's campaigning just now going on in the background to actually either abolish it or actually to give people this. I think the government, at the very least, will actually turn around and say, look, the people that were in the pipeline already and due to conclude, and not through any fault of their own, can actually get that threshold. You can get that exemption still. The people that actually agree to buy a house now, almost within a week of the stamp duty ending, well, you're not going to get that. I think that's the very least that's going to happen. Yeah. If we continue to boom, I have a sneaky suspicion they are actually going to put it back in place to curb that boom.
Yeah, I think, well, the Scottish, our system here with the signing of missives is a bit more clear cut on terms of when it completing before the 31st of March. But down in England, it's just a free for all. They don't even know when their house is going or staying or going.
Point, so Jimmy, actually, that's a good trigger point where you could actually show, when you think about it, if it's the concluded missives point is actually before the 31st of March. It doesn't matter when it actually completes.
Yeah, that is a good point.
That is a good. I'm going to Jimmy for housing minister. So how does Fife compare to other property markets, and what does the reduction for Fife properties on the market mean to Fife homeowners and landlords? Well, I'll tell you the statistics. In the last 12 months, here's frightening statistics. In the last 12 months across Fife, compared to the 12 months about the properties on now, there is 37% less supply across Fife. Not just 11% in the last 3 months, it's 37% since 12 months ago. In other words, if you had 1,000 properties on 12 months ago, you would have 770 on now. That's the reality. And we just saw that, didn't we? You know, I just saw it, 770. I mean, if we looked at it 12 months ago, it'll probably be sitting at 1,000 available. So it's actually done. East Neuk was 47% less properties, almost 50% less than 12 months ago. St Andrews is 24% less than 12 months ago, 15% in Cooper. Leavenmouth has actually got 36% less than 12 months ago, and the Glenrothes area has got 57%. And it's exactly what you said, Jimmy. As soon as you put something on the market in Glenrothes, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The two distressed areas and not enough properties on the market right now, the East Neuk and Glenrothes. So that's quite clear there on the numbers that you're saying, that stuff comes on, it's going. I mean, above 40%, both of them, for not less instructions coming on the market than last year. It's frightening, really frightening.
Yeah. Well, when I looked at the time, when we had done, excuse me, I'm taking notes and stuff for talking about in a wee minute. When I looked at the market, I was on the housing panel for Fife Council, so I represented private landlords for 10 years. One of the reports that we got done at the strategic level for housing policy was the pressured status areas in Fife. Now, clearly, at that time, St Andrews was a pressured status area in the Fife area, and that was actually quite known. And everybody says St Andrews is quite a pressured status area. However, I mean, that report I just did now, St Andrews actually was the only one not bucking the trend. You know, St Andrews is 88%, so there's more properties coming on St Andrews than there is actually coming being sold. So that's actually quite an interesting statistic. But what it did show me outside of the St Andrews area is the next pressured housing status area, you know, the next area which had actually got a restricted supply outside of St Andrews is Glenrothes.
Yeah.
Would you believe that?
That's amazing.
It's like, I would never have thought that. I would have thought Cooper. I would have thought East Neuk. But it's Glenrothes. Yeah.
You would automatically think these areas, and I think a lot of people will be surprised at that. But obviously, the statistics that you're going through obviously demonstrate it quite clearly. And we're seeing that as well, obviously on the ground. So,
yeah, I think. Sorry, Jim, carry on.
So, when compared to the national picture, according to Zoopla, there are 12% less properties on the market compared to today than a year ago. However, now this actually brings me to another one. Look, I was looking at this and the Guardian. Oh, help! It's like, the Guardian. It's the UK house prices suffer the biggest fall since April, said the Halifax. And I'm like, oh my God, are these numbers just not making sense to me? Because we're showing demand outstripping supply and prices going up and up and up. And there's the Halifax saying the biggest house fall, and the Guardian's got big titles and it's like, oh, wait a minute, it's 0.3%. Really? Really?
Yeah.
That's what I think of the newspapers. Don't have a clue what they're talking about. Anyway, apart from that, that's my rant. However, the complete opposite is taking place in London. This is why. This is where it's coming from. This is where it's driving from. The Scottish property market, the Fife property market is fine. We're always quite stable and easy and constantly picking up on that graph. All the time since 1984, prices have gone up consistently and obviously. I mean, we did a show a couple of months ago, actually, showing the house prices since the year 2000 have tripled. They've gone up 200%. You know, basically, so they've gone up 3 times. That's amazing when you think about it.
The problem is with these newspapers, they think the UK revolves around London. You know what I mean? It's just frightening. It's like, if London's bad, everywhere else must be bad.
Yeah. It's all right, Jimmy. We're not going to beat you because you're from Devon. However, the complete opposite is taking place in London. There are currently 47,900 apartments for sale in London compared to January 2020, when there were only 32,000. So London is actually the other way around exactly. And interesting that's a massive rise of 47%. And all the more interesting is that there are only 15% more London semi-detached houses for sale and 1.8% more London detached homes for sale over the 12-month period. The jump in London apartments for sale is being pushed by an upsurge of London upsizers eager to trade their city living apartment to suburban houses, and a small handful of panic London buy-to-let investors who are wanting to exit London property market following falling rents for apartments, looking closer to home there are, and when we look at closer to home, this is where we are. There's 49% less terraced houses for sale in Fife than there was a year ago. 49%. Whilst there are 26% less semi-detached homes than a year ago.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, 2, 3, 4 bedroom semi-detached terraced houses and everything are very popular now. Investors are picking them up. They're quite popular in the rental market. I mean, so for a sales and a rentals perspective, I would agree with that, and I've seen that happen over the last 12 months in particular.
Popular tenure right for Fife.
Yeah, 3 beds.
3 beds. 3 bed terraced houses, 3 bed semis.
Yeah.
And East Nuke, it's 3 bed apartments, but it's all 3 beds.
Yeah. When I've been speaking to landlords or investors recently, I always try and tell them to pick up if they can at a decent price point. 3 bedrooms, your market for tenants getting them in there is just going to let all day. It's a great pickup. Yeah,
3 bedrooms in the rental market. You're in a different price bracket. You appeal more to a young family because you've got the 3 bedrooms. So yeah, definitely that's the appealing part of a 3 bedroom, I think. And obviously everybody wants a house now as opposed to flats and apartments. I mean, they still let. I mean, the demand's still there, but it's the ever-growing popularity of houses, definitely.
Yeah, let's look at the weaker regions on these numbers. I mean, Glenrothes, 77% less terraced homes for sale in Glenrothes than a year ago. Whilst there are only 7% less apartments, that's a telltale sign. It's exactly supporting what you've just said, Richard.
Yeah.
About more people. 69% less semi-detached homes for sale in the Leadenmouth area than a year ago, and there are only 28% less apartments. In Cooper, there's 250% more semi-detached for sale in Cooper than a year ago, whilst there are 100% less terraced homes. So 100% less terraced homes. So more people in Cooper are going for terraced homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and St Andrews, 133% more semi-detached homes, whilst there are 40% less terraced houses in St Andrews. That's probably because of the price. When people are seeing it more affordable going for terraced. And East Nuke, 14% more terraced for sale in East Nuke than a year ago, whilst there's 78% less semi-detached homes. Now, remember, when I'm saying more and stuff like that, this has got a lot to do with mix as well, because there might be a proportionally different mix there was a year ago than there is to mix here in terms of semi-detached on the market, and terrace on the market, and apartments on the market. But it does support what you just said, Richard, about that, which was quite an interesting point.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, what you had said there is more people are actually going for terrace houses straight away.
Yeah.
So, why is that? Is that cheap finance?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the price point and things, obviously, like you see, even like areas St Andrews, obviously, but even areas like Glenrothes and things as well, we're shifting quite a lot of terraced and obviously semi-detached as well. Like I say, I've got a lot of investors picking up property that's terraced houses at the moment. They're brilliant rental properties. They will get obviously them financed easier if they need finance. I mean, obviously, you have a lot of cash buyers and things as well as investors. But yeah, and they're brilliant investment properties as well. We've seen a lot of that recently.
Yeah, I mean, you snooze, you lose, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've just bought another 3 properties last month myself.
Yeah.
And 2 of them never even got to market.
Yeah.
And that was 2 I identified before they even got to market. But that was 2 my radars were on because I was looking at the time. And then one of them was I basically pleaded with everybody, you need to buy this one. It's a great return. It's a great
what one you've done.
And nobody bought it. And I walked into it and I looked at it and I went, wait a minute, I'm buying it now. Done.
Yeah.
Deal.
That's a brilliant investment, that one.
It's a fantastic investment. Does nobody listen to me? It's like, oh my God, success leaves clues are returned at 38-year-old.
Do you know, about a year ago when that property come on the market, I done a video on just obviously an investment opportunity, and I done the figures and obviously put it out there to everybody that this is a good investment, and nobody listened.
So the 3 properties I've committed to, I'm now generating myself a passive income of a top line of £16,000 a year.
Yeah, you can't argue with that.
And essentially, I've only invested 60 grand in it.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So that's why most people come to us, isn't it, Richard, for that advice, and then they end up using us as a letting agent.
Yeah, of course, and that's what we're here for, obviously, to provide that kind of guidance and the information to landlords or investors and things to make the right choices for them, not necessarily. I mean, obviously, like we're not going to be pushing properties. Or it's like when you go to see somebody for sale. If you didn't think that they should be selling, and you're not going to advise them to do that just to get the property in the market. And it's the same with investors and things as well. You're looking to obviously advise they invest on their circumstances and whether an investment's maybe right for them. It might be right for them, it might not be, and it might be right for somebody else, depending on the numbers and their circumstances.
Well,
Yeah, and that's what we're here for.
Personally, it's like what you said. I'm never going to sit there and give anybody any advice at all on what property to buy, knowing full well that we're going to have to manage it.
Yes,
it's like, why would I not give them the best advice? I would actually give them best advice all the time. I would tell somebody not to buy something or somebody to buy something. I'm no bothered what estate agent it's on with. I couldn't care less. If the numbers work and it gives the right return and it does what you want it to do within your strategies, so to speak, and what you're wanting for your lifestyle choices, then I'll tell you to buy it for that reason, purely for that reason, based on what you've told me. Give you the right advice and give you the right track record. And it's like what you say, Richard, you do exactly the same thing. And Jimmy does that as well with the sales.
Yeah, and that's why it's important for people, whether they be sellers or investors, that they are upfront and transparent about everything so that you could best advise them, obviously, on what they need to be doing. Some people feel like they need to be kind of a wee bit cloak and dagger about things, but
Again,
that's not the approach.
It's amazing, the cloak and dagger thing. It's like the guarded thing. I mean, I've got to admit, you obviously they maybe had bad experiences with other estate agents, other letting agents in the past. So they come with that jaded and that baggage, if that makes sense. And then they take a long time to trust us if we're actually telling them the truth. And the reason behind it, we're no there to make a quick buck out of them. This is a long-term game for us, a long-term business for us.
Yeah.
This business will be long going on since when I pop my clogs. You know, that's the reality. That's how I see it. It's a big game. We're going to be a big agent. We're going to be the most important agent. We're going to have longevity. It's going to be here in 100 years' time. It's Fife Properties, and I will no longer be here, but it will be a legacy that we've all left, basically.
Yeah, and that's what we look to do. I mean, you're looking to make long-standing relationships. From our perspective, anyway, with landlords and things, and investors. Obviously, if they're wanting to build up portfolio, and a lot of them, I'm dealing with a lot of people overseas and things, and they need people on the ground who know the areas, know what they're talking about, and can look after things for them and take all that stress and things away, and do what they need to do in their own lives, and they knowing that somebody's looking after, like you say, their biggest tax-free assets.
Yeah, I get loads of people coming to me, you know, just phone them up and saying, hello, I'm so-and-so. It's like so-and-so referred me to you to talk about my investments and what my strategy is and what I should be doing and how I should be doing it. And I'll be honest with everybody out there, phone me. You know, don't think I'm not. I'm approachable. I know you two are laughing because sometimes it's like, whoa, keep away from. But I'm approachable at the end of the day. I'm there to give people the best advice. And it's like you as well, Richard. You're there to give people the best advice. And Jimmy, you're there to give people the best advice. That's the reality. It's like, why on earth would we shoot ourselves in the foot and actually give people bad advice just for a short-term buck? It'll come back to haunt us. We know that. So if you're out there and you're looking at this now and you're watching this now and you want advice, for goodness sake, pick up the phone or message us or actually contact us in some shape or form, and we'll give you the best advice on how to move forward. That's it, ultimately.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even if it comes to things like, even when it comes to things like mortgages and things, if people are looking for advice, even if we don't have the answers, we know the people that do.
Yeah. So whilst there's some differences in the supply of individual types of properties in Fife, I mean, that's the terrace versus semi-detached, the overall reduction in the number, i.e. the supply itself, of properties for sale can only mean one thing, that there is a reduction in the supply of anything and demand remains stable. This means the continued upward pressure on Fife house prices in the short term. You know, that's what's going to happen. Will overall demand for Fife property continue to be stable? You know, that's the question we've got to ask ourselves. Will it actually be stable? I mean, lockdown 3 will probably cause another wave of Fife people who want to move home, thus increasing demand again. And that's kind of coming to fruition just now. The last property crash, the credit crunch of 2009, was caused by a huge increase in the supply of properties for sale when the people lost their jobs and interest rates were much higher. Remember that. The credit crunch was caused by the huge increase of supply of properties coming to market because people lost their jobs and interest rates started to climb. Okay, people couldn't afford their mortgage and so dumped their homes onto the market all at the same time. I mean, it was a 6% supply, for the housing stock actually hit the market, and that caused the problem. I mean, just a 6%, of the housing stock came to market all at once, causing an oversupply of property for sale, and hence house prices dropped. Here's the comparison to now from the credit crunch. This is key to understand the market. Compared to 805 properties, which we've just seen as 770 now, for sale in Fife today, at the height of the credit crunch in September 2009, there were an eye-watering 2,830 properties on the market for sale in Fife.
It's crazy to think that now.
That's a quarter we've got today compared to what it was in the credit crunch at the height of that problem. So do you think, realistically, there is ever going to be a crash in the Fife property market?
I don't think we're going to have any imminent crash in the market. No. I think demand is going to continue for a while. And like I say, obviously at the high level that it already is.
Well, unless you're building a miraculous amount of houses overnight are going to pop up overnight, you're never going to curb that demand. You're never going to quell it.
Well, let's be honest, I think if you started building a load of houses right now anywhere, they would all sell because there's that many people looking to buy them anyway.
Absolutely. As soon as, I spoke to Lochie Homes yesterday and I had a wee chat with them. They're still oversubscribed. They're putting all their literature and brochures together. Lochie Homes is building 92 bungalows in St. Morans. 46 are going to be affordable, social, and 46 are going to be for private sale. But they are actually, they're swamped with demand for their properties. And they've not even released a price. They've not even let anybody see any schematics yet. And they're swamped with demand. They're 3 times oversubscribed already.
Yeah. I mean, before they even put cement in the ground, they're going to be gone.
Effectively, that's what's happening. As soon as you're putting something on the market, as we are saying, it's getting a pre-launch on Facebook, and as soon as the pre-launch on Facebook goes, somebody's jumping in there straight away before it even gets to any portal, and it's gone. And then people phone us up and go, "I'm phoning it out. Too late, pal. It's gone. You should have followed our Facebook page." That was the reality. If you don't follow our Facebook page, guess what? Somebody else gets in there before you because they've had the savvy to do it.
Yeah, I'm speaking to people, I mean, I keep reiterating, follow the page that's relevant to the area that you're looking in, because that's where you'll see things coming on first.
Let's look at the micro regions actually for this, compared to credit crunch. So compared to credit crunch in St Andrews, there's 47 properties for sale in St Andrews today, which will be significantly less now. There was 97 properties available, double the amount in the credit crunch. In Cooper, there was 31 versus 47. And Leven, there was 98 versus 369. Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly. In Glenrothes, there was 52 versus an eye-watering 441. Yeah, exactly. Which means, these are Levenmouth, Glenrothes are 2 areas which actually are quite stable just now. These are thriving markets just now. Because you can see the numbers there. I mean, 52 available in Glenrothes compared to 441 at the height of the credit crunch. There isn't going to be any credit crunch. That's probably unrealistic. And then the East Nuke, here's the East Nuke, 24 versus 63. So 3 times as much in the credit crunch compared to now. And it'll probably be a lot less now because we've sold several last week. It's like by the time I've ended this conversation, we've sold more houses. It's like that number's changed automatically.
I mean, that's the thing with these stats. They're changing on a daily basis. It's not even like weekly; it's daily that the figures are changing. Obviously, from us on the front line, we know because obviously we're selling quite a good bit, especially in these areas.
The buy-to-let market. Here's an instant one: the Negotiator. Classic. It says time to leave the buy-to-let market.
really.
This is the English market talking about regulation coming in, and the Scottish, in the Scottish market, right? And they're saying time to leave the buy-to-let market. Wait a minute, can you just look at what happened to Scotland and where Scotland is just now?
Yeah.
So time to leave the buy-to-let market. You know what's happening with this?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've had
it's no time to leave the buy-to-let market. It's time to get into the buy-to-let market. I'm just
very much so.
that out. 60 grand invested on buy-to-let mortgages, okay? Bought 3 properties. It's going to generate my top line income of 16,000 a year in rents. It's like passive income. And the cost to finance that is like 3% interest-only mortgage. You're coming out with a 15% net return on capital invested. Where are you getting that in the bank?
I mean, if they're basing that, if they're basing that on just because maybe they've obviously got a lot of new legislation coming in, I think that's silly because I mean we've dealt with such a lot of legislation changes in the last few years. But I think what it really does is keeps the industry obviously regulated, and as long as you keep yourself right and methodically go through all these processes to make sure your property is compliant, it's not an issue.
I'm going to make a statement.
Go on then.
I love regulation in the buy-to-let market. I love regulation in the buy-to-let market. Do you know why I love regulation in the buy-to-let market? It pushes all the people out of the market. Therefore, supply becomes less. Therefore, demand goes higher. Therefore, rents go higher.
Yeah.
Wow! It's not a difficult formula here. More regulation comes in, more people leave. Therefore, you're left with more tenants chasing your property. Therefore, the rents go up. Hello, McFly.
Yeah, definitely weeds out all the agents and landlords that don't know how to really operate correctly within the legislation and regulations, or choose not to. So yeah, it definitely does that.
That's what I was going to say, Richard. As long as you have a managing agent that knows what they're talking about, legislations are irrelevant.
Yeah, but as daunting for some landlords. I mean, there is quite a lot of legislation, and if you're not dealing with it on a daily basis like we are, then it is going to be alien to you. And if you want to you can still be a buy-to-let investor without having to worry about all that to a certain extent if you've got an agent that's in place doing it for you.
Listen, you can still be a buy-to-let investor and not have any input to this at all.
Yes.
Right? Now, the key here is just ask us about a property fund. So where you can invest in a property fund that we've got, we'll invest for you. And as a result, you'll be investing at the same time as I'm investing in the same fund, and you'll make a return as well. That's the key here. You won't have any involvement, but you'll still make a return, and you'll probably have no risk because you're in with me, and I'm not taking no risks in anything.
Yeah.
So it was increased level activity for the sale in the Fife, mirrored across the whole of the UK. That caused property prices to drop between 16 and 19%, depending on the type of property you have on Fife, over the 12 to 14 months of the credit cards. As long as there's no sudden change in demand of the supply of the properties and interest rates remain at their current ultra-low level, I think that's obvious, the medium-term prospects for the Fife property market look good. If you're a Fife homeowner or a Fife buy-to-let landlord and really, want to chat about it further, we're the best people to speak to.
Yeah. We're always available to speak, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we do on a daily basis. So if people are sitting with questions and unsure about answers for things, then you need to speak to people that are in the know, and that would be ourselves.
Eat, sleep, breathe, repeat. Eat, sleep, breathe, repeat. That's all I do with the Fife property market every single day. That's all I think about. That's all I'm obsessed about. That's all I go on about. It's like, it's effectively, that is it. I want to know everything there is to know about the Fife property market. So I know all the knowledge. So I know exactly what I need to do. So I know exactly what I want to achieve. You set your goals in stone and you put your plans in sand. That is the reality here. And that's what I do every single time. I know what I want, and I tell clients that as well. I know what you want. You tell me what you want, and I'll show you how to get it. It might take a wee bit longer to get to that route, but I tell you what, I'll show you the path, and I'll make sure you get that path to get exactly what you want. You just have to listen and actually do as I tell you. That's sometimes a sticking point for people, isn't it? It's like, I don't know what to do that. It's uncomfortable. It's like, but if you do that, you will get that result. I'll guarantee you that.
I think a lot of no, you go, Jim. I think a lot of the time, if you want to reach your goals, more than likely you're going to have to put yourself outside your comfort zone, and that's just the reality of it. And some people are quite reluctant to do it, but it is ultimately how you're going to get there in the end.
Jimmy, final word.
Speak to, if you have any questions about anything, buy-to-let, selling, buying, negotiating, anything, just pick up the phone or drop us a message. More than happy to help in any way we can. We're not in it to, well, we're just in it to help you, really. That's the bottom line. It's that simple.
It's exactly what I say to most people. It's like, I'm here sitting helping you, giving you the best advice. If it means to sell your home, then fantastic. I realise I have to make money in order to stay in business, but it's actually giving you the best advice to do what you want, and the byproduct to us is we'll actually make money as a result of that. Yeah. And everybody wins in that situation, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we're going to put together the right tools to get you the best money. So obviously, we obviously make money because we need to stay alive and eat and drink. But ultimately, we're going to be putting together the best plans to get you the most money. And that's what we pride ourselves on, not selling the most houses, but getting the most for you and allowing you to move on.
Quality.
You almost got into the realms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs there. Ultimate survival, eat, sleep, deprivation, all these things in psychology. Richard, final words.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously, as we've discussed today, the Fife property market, I mean, the attraction and the amount of transactions and things at the moment is just kind of astounding. But it's a really good time for buyers and obviously for sellers alike, and also for investors and things as well. And I think if you're considering that option, speak to us. If we think it's the right option, then we will advise you on the right avenues to take to do that.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, I mean, I'm just gobsmacked when I looked at these numbers where the supply was. I mean, the credit crunch thing was a startling statistic for me. You know,
the difference.
Straight away. I mean, right now, when we did that real time, 730 was it properties on the market currently available for sale right across Fife.
Yeah.
And peak market, the credit crunch, where it was a catastrophe, and everybody's going, we're going to have another one again. It's like it's a quarter of that. It was 2,800 properties up for sale in the credit crunch. There's only 730 now.
There's a vast difference.
I mean, to reach that astronomical scale, interest rates are going to have to go sky high. Unemployment is going to have to go ballistic. And I really can't see that happening anytime soon. I think furlough as well. I think furlough will potentially be extended for certain industries.
Yeah, we're a long way off a situation like that.
Yeah, definitely. Any questions, anybody? Please feel free to ask us later on if you're watching this on the replay. Guys, that's it. We're power hour gone so far. Richard, thank you very much for coming on the show. Really appreciate your advice as usual. Jimmy, thanks very much for coming on the show. Really appreciate your advice and your information. Really positive. I love that. Market's going really well just now.
Yeah.
And everybody else out there watching, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week for the next installment of the Fife Property Show. And so bye for now.
See you later, guys.